What's up, everybody? Welcome to the season opener, as in the regular season of Men in Stripes, brought to you by StripePipe.com, a fan-sided exclusive network. It's week one. We're talking Cincinnati Bengals regular season football, and we're talking game preview against the New York Jets. Tim Danu here. So excited to be starting the season off with none other than our co-host here on Men in Stripes, also co-editor of StripePipe.com. This is Matthew Wilson. Matthew, what's going on, man?
Hey, it's the season opener. You can't get any better than that, can you?
That was the worst enthusiasm ever for the season opener. Like, I came out here and I was like, yeah, let's go. And you're like, yeah, guys, this is great.
Well, there is a 5-year-old that drained a lot of that energy, but you know what? I'll find some in me. But no, it all had to do, unfortunately, a 101 degree temperature that luckily by the time she went to bed we had down to like 91 or 99.1. So
there you go. We're supposed to get some rain here, but it's not happening yet. So
we had a couple rumbles. So
yeah, let's start with some football news before we start previewing the Jets. So we haven't been on. We went ahead and took a couple weeks off just because it was the end of the preseason. So the last we saw of the first team was the first half of the Jaguars game. Obviously, without Adam Jones playing, A.J. Green only plays a drive because he bumps knees with the player. But really impressed with the first team. I thought they ran that really beautiful screenplay to Bernard for that 25-yard touchdown. Jeremy Hill continued to have an excellent preseason, so it looks like those two are in sync. I think what we're seeing from the defense so far, the defense looks like a Super Bowl caliber defense so far. I know it's preseason and it's the Jaguars and all that jazz, but every guy's shown up and made things happen. But yeah, I think that I was really happy with their performances these last couple weeks. But that led to, obviously, with the excitement there are some things you got to worry about, like some cuts. I know you're gonna be pretty excited because you get a few minutes to talk about Brandon Tate not being on the team anymore.
Who?
Yeah, that guy. But there's definitely some surprise moves there. The Bengals break their divorce with Keith Wenning, bring in Jeff Driscoll to develop there, so I think that's a good move. I'm really shocked Trey Carson didn't make the team with the broken arm of Cedric Pierman, possibly going 4 running backs there, but he is on the practice squad, so I imagine it's only a matter of time before he's brought to the main roster. And then P.J. Dawson gets cut, which is very surprised me. Goes out next year to try out for Tampa before coming back to the Bengals to be on the practice squad.
Yeah.
So, in all these, personnel moves, what do you take away from everything? What were your feelings on everything?
Well, for the Trey Carson thing, I kind of called that. Especially when you're looking at the fact that the guy is, really only had one solid game, and that was in the final game against second and third team players. So you have Rex Burkhead there to fall back on. You have, of course, Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard there, and we've seen as long as he can get healthy, we've seen Jake Fisher do some weird things. So we could add running back to the resume. But then again, we also do know too that Tyler Boyd has played running back. In fact, of course, we talked about it. With James Conner going out due to cancer last year at Pitt, he played running back too. So he very well could flex to a running back position in a tight spot. So I like the move of moving Carson to the practice squad. I think he's got talent, but I think he needs to develop it a little more, maybe get a little bit more experience at the NFL level, professional level, and then I look forward to seeing what he can do. As for P.J. Dawson, was a little bit of a surprise for sure. Wasn't fully expecting for P.J. to be cut there. It's weird because he was almost kind of, many people thought that he was going to especially be there with Vontaze being suspended, but I guess they saw that they had all they needed.
I think the biggest gripe was it looks like they said he wasn't taking the game seriously and he wasn't being a pro. And I guess they felt he had some growing up to do and some maturity to do. And that's why he is on the practice squad. Because, I mean, if you watched in this preseason, like, Marquise Flowers completely outplayed him. Like, ahead of, like, way more.
Yeah.
Marquise, yeah. Where, like, in last preseason, we're talking about P.J. Dawson, like, damn, we have young Vontez Perfect. So I thought that that definitely played a part from what Marvin said there. Let's talk about the Jeff Driscoll move, honestly. So, why I find this move genuinely interesting, because, like, I don't know how much you follow high school recruiting like I do, but this guy was at one point the number one high school football player in the country. Committed to Florida. So Gator fans are very familiar with Driscoll. Didn't really pan out there, as we know. Transferred to Louisiana Tech for his senior year. Had a really, really good year there. Gets drafted by the Niners this year. The Niners put him on waivers, and the Bengals claim him. Now, where I find this interesting is this fact that everyone wants the Bengals to, and I've written articles about this, potentially shop A.J. McCarron.
Yeah.
And I get it. It makes sense. Get some draft picks for a guy that's proven he can play and help your team into the playoffs and do some, and is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Sure, I get that, especially with guys like Bridgewater with their injury they just had. So what I think is interesting here is I feel like this Driscoll move was made as a way for the Bengals to not necessarily shop McCarron now, but, because I think they want to have someone that's going to be ready for if something does happen to Andy again this year, obviously, God forbid. But I think that it makes sense as far as, like, this is another guy that Ken Zampese can develop. So if something does happen where they do decide to shop McCarron, they have a guy who they feel comfortable with and who's ready. I mean, there's a reason that they put their one waiver claim out for Driscoll, and they made this move to bring him to the roster.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation there. Obviously, I don't think Driscoll's quite ready yet, just like you. I think that he has a lot of development to go. So I think, getting him to a point where everybody would be comfortable if something happened to Andy Dalton is going to be key before getting rid of McCarron. But with that being said, McCarron's stock has never been higher. So
yeah,
it's kind of a pros and cons type thing to how long do you wait, how long do you develop the kid before you wave goodbye to McCarron, or at least try to wave goodbye to McCarron, see what he's worth on the open market. So, I mean, there's a lot of things there that really are going to come into play that we are going to have to wait and see. I mean, there's still a lot of development things that have to occur before we're saying, okay, AJ McCarron, how much are you worth? But you also don't want to wait too long, because you wait too long, people forget, especially in the NFL, these scouts have short-term memories. They'll forget how good he is without seeing him. So you've got to play a very, very fragile game there of, how long do you hold on to McCarron where his stock is high enough to get rid of him for the return, but at the same time, you don't hurt the team if something happens to Andy Dalton.
I'm about 60-40 agreeing with you on that. I don't think people are gonna forget about how good AJ McCarron is, because there is enough film there. I get it's just 4 NFL games, but he's got quite the pedigree and quite the resume already from his college tenure. Because people like guys that go out there and win football games, and minus the Denver game, which isn't his fault, or minus the Pittsburgh playoff game, which isn't his fault, he has done that. He put them in positions to win both those games. And he was, that Denver game, he was really good before he hurts his hand. I think that, this is more or less, they understand that when the time comes that they can shop him, or the time comes it's time to renew that deal, he's not going to re-sign here. And this is also a thing where you understand that as long as Andy Dalton is wearing a Bengal helmet, AJ McCarron will not start for this team. And I think that's what this case is there as well. And so I like the move. I'm more shocked that Driscoll's currently on the 53 than I am that he's on that he's like a full-time, that they brought him in. Because I thought, the emergency quarterback situation is really gone now. You don't really see a lot of that anymore. And especially with you can have 53 on the active roster, but you can only dress 46.
Yep.
So I that kind of shocks me because I thought, guys like, I don't think he'll be on the 53 for a while. I mean, the whole time, to be honest with you. I think there's a matter of time before he is on the practice squad and moves back and forth a little bit. But this is a guy that, he brings some stuff to the table. He's a really good athlete. I mean, he's a minor league baseball prospect also. He's been drafted there, if that tells you anything about his pedigree. So it's an interesting move. I think it's a smart move. I think this is another classic Tobin move where he is preparing for the worst, much like bringing the guys in that he has, the James Wrights, the Tyler Boyds, the Cody Coors, and guys like that. And now we can finally say, member of the Cincinnati Bengals, number 12, Alex Erickson. Did you order your jersey yet?
I haven't. I need to get on that, though.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry.
You sounded very offended by that. I was joking.
I finally got around to burning my Brandon Tate jersey. You got to give me time.
I've actually seen Brandon Tate jerseys at games before. I did see he signed with Buffalo.
I have too.
Yeah, he signed with Buffalo, right?
I believe actually that is correct.
Dude, you know what? For everything we say about how frustrating he was as a kick returner, he's got good hands and he's a decent wideout and can run good routes. He might do okay there. He might be a decent third, fourth wide receiver there.
Only problem I have with that is he's still Brandon Tate. He gets every now and then he'll get the Brandon LaFell disease, and he'll just randomly drop easy catches. He'll make spectacular catches, but he'll drop easy catches.
I still think the greatest play I've seen in person, I don't know. I've seen a lot of amazing Chad Johnson, AJ Green catches, and I've seen a lot of cool stuff like that. Has got to be Brandon Tate's touchdown against Kansas City last year when Dalton rolls and hits Tate down the field and no one touches him. That was sweet. So I really hope the best for Brandon Tate. I hope he goes out there and succeeds in Buffalo. Just not when they play the Bengals, of course.
Yeah.
Well, we remember these glimpses and these individual memories that are certainly frustrating, but he also has some plays where, you can look back on and really appreciate what he did here. He had a kick return touchdown. If you remember the year they won the division when they lost to San Diego, they were in Buffalo, and that was a close game until he brought the punt back to really put them in position to score and win. So yeah, man, it is a double-edged sword with Brandon Tate, but we don't have to talk about Brandon Tate anymore. We'll just say best of luck to you in Buffalo. Let's move forward because we're on to the New York Jets now. It is week 1. It is a new season. It is a New York Jets team that had a very weird offseason. It's a New York Jets team that, addition by subtraction, we remember when we did their opponent preview, we discussed the Matt Forte coming for Chris Ivory. I think Darren Leaf was a little late to signing his first round contract. They are an interesting team, a team that got really close to winning it last year. To making the playoffs last year. But Ryan Fitzpatrick just had to throw an interception against Buffalo in the end of the game and put Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Thanks, Fitzy. Appreciate ya. And that leads to Ryan Fitzpatrick coming back after a weird offseason that we're thinking there for a month that we might be praying for Geno Smith to be the starting quarterback. And we're saying, haha, that's going to be really funny. But Fitzpatrick is there. He does still have that good, nice connection with Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, who are two outstanding wide receivers. Jason Morrow did not make the team, so I couldn't for the life of you tell you who the tight end is for the New York Jets now. Offensive line's decent, not great. Obviously, defensively, they have Muhammad Wilkerson, who's a very good defensive player. And there's Revis Island, who maybe has lost a little bit of a step, but is still a very good cornerback. So, first off, I guess when we talk about this game, there is no Marvin Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Tyler Eifert. We've talked about that forever. Blah, 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 blah. We can go on and on about that. I don't really know where the trust is between Dalton and LaFell yet, just because he didn't get a chance to throw him a pass at all in the preseason. I didn't hear very good things out of camp that made me feel really excited about LaFell, where you saw Dalton already have a little bit of connection with Tyler Boyd. And I think Giovanni Bernard comes in as a really bit of an X factor in this circumstance because he is a guy that you can dump the ball off to. He is a guy that can run the ball. So I think Gio's going to get a lot of touches this week. So for all you fantasy football people out there, put number 25 in your flex spot this week because he's going to get you some points. But this is a hard thing because you expect the Bengals to kind of, I don't know if I'm ready to say they're going to air it out. I think AJ's going to get his targets, obviously. We don't know if Tyler Kropp's going to be fully healthy for this game. I think the game plan is for him to play.
He's been practicing.
Yeah, but, with his time off, can he fit right in? Because he's looked good. He looked good last year when he had a chance to play and fill in for Eifert.
And he looked good from what I heard in training camp, too, before he got injured.
Yeah, and you've heard me talk about before, I really like the Bengals 3 tight end sets. I really like CJ Uzomah. I really like Tyler Eifert. And I really like Tyler Kroft. So, when you look at this matchup, I don't think the whole game is going to be, this way. But what do you feel this is going to be more like the Bengals leaning on their running game and maybe just throwing some swing passes, some screens and stuff to Bernard out of the backfield?
No, absolutely not. I think you have 3 very capable wide receivers, and I'm not talking about Brandon Fell. I am talking about Tyler Boyd, and I am talking about Cody Core. I think you have 3 very talented wide receivers right there that Andy Dalton can rely on when you include AJ Green, obviously, into that conversation. I think that they have a decent tight end set with, as you said, with Tyler Kroft, with CJ Uzomah, with even Ryan Hewitt probably getting swung out there from time to time. He's not a full-time halfback. We know that. So what we're really looking at here is we're looking at a talented group of receivers that Andy Dalton doesn't have to all of a sudden hand the ball off. Because if we remember correctly, I hate to say it, but the Jets' defense against the running game last year was very good. So we don't want to be relying on the running game for this, and we don't have to rely on the running game. Even if you take Brandon LaFell out of the picture, they have plenty of capable targets for Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton himself has the judgment ability to take off and to run with the ball when he doesn't see something open and he sees a gap. So we have flexibility here. Of course, Giovanni Bernard's going to be a factor out of the backfield when it comes to the short passing game and a check down option. We know Jeremy Hill is going to play a factor in the game. We want those 2 to be there. But by no means does that mean they need to stop passing the ball or, lighten up on passing the ball, when the situation calls for it.
And I'm with you, man. I do think that they have capable players, obviously. It's just, when Andy Dalton rules out there, and we know how much I love Andy, I think I've declamated myself the president of the Dalton fan club many of times, including on this show. How many of those guys is he going to trust, man? That's where I'm at with that. Obviously we know that he's going to trust AJ. We also know that sometimes he trusts AJ a little too much, and that's where the mistakes were made in the past.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is AJ Green. This is an otherworldly wide receiver. This is one of the elite, one of the best of the best, and the Jets have already said today, which I don't believe at all, that they don't plan on having Darrelle Revis play over him the whole game. That's a lie. That's a total lie.
Oh, yeah.
There is no way that you're going to be like, man, AJ Green's over there. Darrelle, go cover Cody Core. That's not going to happen. So anyone who's looking at that and going, oh, that's fine. No way. And this is a Jets team where a lot of those guys were there when, if you remember, as I remember very vividly because I was there, Andy Dalton lit them up for 5 touchdowns in a 49-9 victory. The other 2 touchdowns being, what were they? There was 4 to Marvin Jones. There was 1 rushing by Gio, and then there was 2 pick sixes. Adam Jones and Reggie Nelson. So these are some Jets guys that might remember that game a little bit and be a little pissed off. I do like the Jets this year. I think that they could be, but I don't know, man. I hate to say it because I love Brandon Marshall. I just don't think that they have what it takes to be a playoff team. But I think this game's going to be close, honestly. I think with the injuries, with the talent level, I think this game's an interesting game. I think it might be the best game of Week 1, really, besides maybe Arizona and New England, because I don't think tonight's game's going to be that close at all. I just don't think that's going to be one that's going to be a little interesting. But yeah, I feel like this is an interesting matchup there. I do like the addition of Matt Forte to the Jets, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think when you put these two teams on paper, and yes, the Bengals are out without Jones and Sanu, as we know. We've covered all offseason. We don't know when Tyler Eiffel's going to be able to play, but we don't think he's too far away. Tyler Kroft is really a budding player who could really help the Bengals start these two tight end sets that can make them successful and get them another weapon there. And they have two really good backs. They have Adriel Jeremiah Green. I expect the Bengals to win this game, and I expect the Jets to be able to compete in this game. So I would say I think the Bengals will win this game 24-14. I think the Jets are going to get their own. I think it's just too hard to keep Brandon Marshall out of the end zone, as we've seen throughout his whole career. But I just think the Bengals are going to have too much for them.
Yeah, no, I think the Bengals win this. I'm one of those people, though, because we've seen the Bengals keep some of the best wide receivers out of the end zone. Guy by the name of Antonio Brown, by the way.
He only won last year in 3 games, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's just put it this way. I think Decker will have more touchdowns than Brandon Marshall. I think Decker's going to have 1 touchdown. I think they really focus on shutting him down. I think they really focus on shutting the Jets' passing game down. Now, what I think is going to hurt, and actually Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports Pro Football Talk said it perfectly this morning on the show, where they said, listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick has talked a big game before. He's come out after having a great season in his mind and said, I'm going to be even better than I was last year. And he dropped off. He almost gets too confident in himself. He doesn't focus on his game, and he struggles. I see that happening especially this early in the season because he wasn't there for OTAs. He wasn't there for minicamp. He was barely there for training camp, which he signed, I think, right before, but even then he still had to get up to par on it, and to everything going on, especially with the new players. And he had to get in physical shape. And he had to kind of trim up that beard because Grizzly Adams just doesn't look good on him. I'm sorry. If he's going to be Grizzly Adams, I think we should put him in the Canadian Football League. But where I think that the Bengals are going to beat the Jets is I think the Bengals are going to beat the Jets up front. And I think they're going to beat them up front defensively in the trenches. And I think they're going to get to Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to get frustrated. And let's face it, he's going to get frustrated. And he's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw interceptions because he's going to try to force things. So I mean, plain and simple, what we're looking at here is we're looking at the Bengals being a better team overall, which we've seen a lot of recently. Let's admit that. But if they can remain healthy, and if they can keep themselves healthy through the season, and they can get guys healthy, I honestly think that we have nothing to worry with on this team.
I agree. So, what's your score?
I'm going 24-10.
24-10. I have 24-14. So we're about close there. I think. I have the utmost faith in this defense, but I think you have a little bit more faith than I do in this circumstance, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So let's go through the season. Let's go through week 1, and obviously by the time this gets up, unless you get it up tonight, we might already be done with the Thursday night game. So let's just go through the games of the week and real quickly give our winners who we think there for sure. So first off, Panthers-Broncos Super Bowl 50 rematch. Cam Newton looking for revenge. Denver Broncos have a lot of losses and a quarterback that no one's familiar with. Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, C.J. Anderson, and Ronnie Hillman still there with Trevor Booker also get some chance there. So, what are your feelings on this game tonight?
They kept Von Miller, which was probably the best move. They unfortunately lost a couple of key players, even on the defensive side of the ball. I'm picking Carolina. I'm picking them close though. I think I'm going to go with a more of like a 35-31 type game. I think it's going to be a little bit more scoring, but I think Cam Newton gets his revenge.
I picked Carolina too. I'm going to go a little less than you. I think 28-20. I just don't think Denver's going to have enough on the offensive side with this quarterback under the lights. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers go to Jacksonville, who a lot of people really like as far as building up. Don't think they're ready for this game. Aaron Rodgers lights them up. 31-10 Packers.
No, I'm right with you right there. I mean, I like the guys in Jacksonville. I think Robinson and Hers are very talented players. I even think that you have guys like but you have guys like Jordy Nelson, who's going to be healthy again, and you have Eddie Lacy there. I just don't see a way that Jacksonville wins this game. Again, I don't think they have the defense there either. I think you're right in terms of going a little higher scoring. I'm gonna go 28-10 on that one.
28-10 on your end. So there's a 3-point difference there. All right, that brings us to AFC North Division mate. Baltimore Ravens coming off a very tough year, a lot of losses, a lot of injuries, taking on their former backup quarterback, now starter of the Buffalo Bills, Tyrod Taylor. What do you feel? I don't know, man. This game's interesting. I really like Tyrod being there. I think that he's done a lot of good for his career. I think Baltimore is the third team in the AFC North, but I think they're a distant third. I'm going to go Buffalo in this game on the road. I think Tyrod's going to want to prove some things to those guys, but it's close. I'm going to go 17-14 Buffalo.
I think the biggest mistake for Baltimore is that Steve Smith Sr. came back. I think he's going to be more of a distraction with him saying supposedly this is his final year again unless he gets injured. I'm not a big Crockett fan.
No.
So for me, I just don't. I think he's a weapon, but I don't think he's that big of a weapon. I think he's going to play a factor in some games, but I don't think he's going to replace the production that they got from Heap at one point. I just don't see them as a very. I think they have a lot of room to improve, and so for me, I'm right there with you. I think Tyrod Taylor has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove that especially in Baltimore, that they gave up something that was very high potential, especially something that they very well could have relied on last year when everybody was injured. So for me, I'm going Buffalo. You know what? I'm going 21-14. I'm saying touchdown win.
Houston, Texas, Chicago Bears. I'll make this quick. I really like everything the Texans did this offseason from their draft to their free agent signings. Don't think the Bears are going to compete this year. I like Houston to win this game at home with J.J. Watt back. I will take this one at a score of 27-10.
Turn down for Watt. We'll use that one since that's a great fantasy team that I saw the other day. So I think you're right. J.J. Watt's a huge factor, although he may not be 100%. You know what? Chicago, I just don't like Jay Cutler. I just don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think they have a lot of talent on that team. They have one or two guys that they really should build around, but Jay Cutler ain't doing it for me. I'm actually going to go with Houston there. I'm going to say 28-7.
So far, Matthew and I have all the same winners. We might differ here, though. This is Cleveland versus Philly. This is Carson Wentz getting his chance to play, coming out of a preseason where he was injured, the second overall pick in the draft. Traded Sam Bradford to get him ready, but I don't think that this is in his favor. As much as I like Carson Wentz for the future, and I think he's going to be a good ball player, and we've talked about this on the show before, I really think that this is going to be... Okay, I think Cleveland's going to win 2 games this year. I think this is one of them. I think Robert Griffin's going to be really fired up. He knows how to play Philly. Not much has changed from his days in Washington there, and so I think that this is going to be one of the 2 wins the Browns have this year. But I think Carson Wentz has continued to get better throughout the season, so I will take the Browns to win this game, 13-10. Yeah, not scoring much.
We are going to differ a little bit there because I don't think RG3 is a great quarterback. I think Josh Gordon is still the biggest distraction in the NFL.
But he's suspended, isn't he?
Is he? He is suspended again still, isn't he?
Yeah.
For the first 4 games?
Yeah.
Okay. But even then, he's still on the team. He's still on. Even though he's suspended, that the big question has been around him. And as I said, he's the biggest distraction in the NFL. He's been the biggest distraction. I like Hugh Jackson. I think he's a great coordinator. However, I just don't see him turning this team around immediately. I think it's going to take some work. I think they have the pieces around Carson Wentz to basically help Carson Wentz. I shouldn't say help. Kind of hide Carson Wentz's inexperience. I mean, Ryan Matthews is still there. He can definitely help out of the backfield. So, I'm actually going to switch on you there. I'm still not going to say it's a high-scoring team, but I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say 13-10 Philly.
Nice. Sorry, I was muted there for a second. I was like talking into my headset and it wasn't going anywhere. I didn't realize I was muted. All right, so we have the first differential. Buccaneers Falcons this week. I think you've said you've gone as far as you think this is going to be Jameis Winston's best year of his career throughout. And I like Doug Martin on this team. I like the Buccaneers to win this one. I'll say 21-13. I just like the combination of Jameis and Mike Evans too much, even with Julio and Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I still think that the Falcons don't have a defense there. If they had a defense, I'd feel a little more comfortable saying the Falcons. I'm gonna go with Jameis Winston just off the fact that a mediocre defense he can beat. He's yet to prove that he can really beat a good defense. But Falcons don't have a good defense, and let's put it lightly. Mohamed Sanu is a number 3 wide receiver. He always will be a number 3 wide receiver. Doesn't matter where he is. And he got wide receiver 2 money. Good for him, but it doesn't mean they didn't overpay for him. So I'm going Buccaneers. I'm going to say 24-14.
All right. So we have the Vikings and the Titans. We have the 2 former Eagles that were the big moves last year going against each other, and Sam Bradford and DeMarco Murray on different sidelines. I really like Tennessee, what they're building. I love Marcus Mariota. I think he's going to be a star. I really like Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray as a backfield tandem. So, but Adrian Peterson is still on this team. That defense is still really good. The spread is 2.5. I think they'll cover. I think that they will win this game 23-20. I think Adrian Peterson is just going to be too much for Tennessee.
I think you're right with Adrian Peterson being a lot for Tennessee to handle. However, the rest of the team won't be. And so for Adrian Peterson to basically be 100% of the team is really what's kind of basically making me lean the other way. Because I don't think he can be it, and when he has tried to be the only person on the team, he ended up injured. And he ended up injured bad, if I remember correctly. That was the year that he had a torn ACL.
Yeah, but that's a young, talented team there, man. Like, Stephon Diggs, Laquan Treadwell, Kyle Rudolph, even in the backfield, Jerick McKinnon. Sam Bradford, for everything he's not, he can still sling it, and they have a really, really, really good defense, and probably the best safety in the league in Harrison Smith.
Yeah, but don't they have one of the oldest corners in the league in Leon Hall?
That's on the Giants.
Is that on the Giants? Who?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? The
Terrence Newman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which is the oldest cornerback, I believe, at 35 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I just got the names mixed up. So the only issue I have is Marcus Mariota is kind of the anything you can do, I can do better when it comes to Sam Bradford. I think he can match Sam Bradford, and I think he might be able to take it a step further. I love this defense the Vikings have because, of course, Mike Zimmer's defenses are, well, let's face it, ridiculous. However, Sam Bradford is only been in a practice for the Vikings, and they're not even guaranteed to start Sam Bradford. So, with such confusion even from these guys, and such holdout from these guys, I really don't see this being a successful formula because, no offense, Mike Zimmer's no Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So,
all right, so let's speed this up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So for me, I'm gonna give the Titans the benefit of the doubt here, just because if it was Teddy Bridgewater, I would absolutely be on the Vikings bandwagon. Since we don't even know who's the quarterback because Mike Zimmer won't say who's the quarterback, and he has said that he hasn't even talked to his quarterbacks to announce who's going to be the starting quarterback. Let's just put it this way. I think it's a mess. I don't think he's Bill Belichick. I think he needs to stop being Bill Belichick and he needs to be Mike Zimmer. I think Tennessee's going to win this one. I think it's going to be 28-24.
All right. So we're going to speed around this real quick to get to the rest of these games as we get ready for kickoff tonight.
Yep.
Saints Raiders, Drew Brees at home, no question about it. Guys got to sign a contract. Big time Drew in the Superdome is unbeatable. I think the Saints win this one big. I think Saints win this one 31-17.
I'm on the other side. I think Amari Cooper and Derek Carr are both very talented. I'm going Oakland, and I'm going Oakland at a pace of 35-28.
San Diego and Kansas City. We know the Chargers aren't good, but Jamal Charles still not ready to play. I'm all on the Spencer Ware bandwagon. Give me Spencer Ware for 22 carries and Alex Smith to run in the show. I take Kansas City in this one at home. I will say 31-3.
Oh, definitely Kansas City, and yes, you are absolutely right that they're a mess. But seeing the fact that my boy Joey Bosa will be on the field, I don't think it'll be tight that much. I give it a 21-7 game.
Nice. And speaking of teams at home that seem unbeatable, the 12th man in full comments, Russell Wilson leading the Seattle Seahawks against the up-and-coming Miami Dolphins, who aren't going to be ready for this game, even with Arian Foster in the backfield. Seattle's going to have too much, and Miami's not going to have enough time to make things happen in this game. I like Seattle in this one big. Spread's 10. I'm going 20. I think this is a 30-10 victory for the Seahawks.
Is Ryan Tannehill's wife still complaining about the practice team picking off her husband? Because I think pretty much she's going to be complaining that the Seahawks are picking off her husband. So I'm going Seahawks here. I fully agree. I'll actually even agree. I think 30-10 is a great score.
Speaking of players at home, we have the return of Andrew Luck as he leads the Colts at Lucas Oil Field to play the Detroit Lions, who are going without Megatron for the first time. I liked what Matthew Stafford did a little bit this offseason. Really kind of getting the groove with guys like Marvin Jones and Golden Tate and really trying to make things happen there. But I don't think they're going to have enough there. I still think the Lions are just not ready for this. I will take the Indianapolis Colts at home. I think Andrew Luck comes back with a bang. I will say, though, that there's going to be a shootout because Stafford and Luck are going to throw a lot. I take the Colts 31-28.
The other issue there is we don't know what the status of Golden Tate's going to be either, and that's going to be a key factor for the Detroit Lions. I am going also with the Colts. I'm going a little lower score. I am going to say it's going to be a 21-17 game.
We have our first even spread of the year, and it's only week one, folks. We have Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott leading the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Giants at home. I really like what Prescott and Zeke bring to the future of the Cowboys. I just don't think that they're going to be able to win this game just yet. Not that I think they're not talented enough. I think Zeke's going to get 100 yards in this game. But I like Eli Manning and Odell Beckham to start the season. I think that they win this game. It's close. It's definitely close, folks. I think this game's a 27-24 victory for the New York Football Giants.
I told you at the beginning of probably this podcast, where's Tony Romo? Injured. I love the New York Giants in this game, even with my man Zeke in the backfield. I'm going Giants. I'm going 28-17.
All right, we got some Sunday night football action there. The Arizona Cardinals hosting the New England Patriots without Tom Brady. A lot of questions about the Patriots. Gronk, not even being 100% if he's going to play. Some questions there. I think Gronk will play. Carson Palmer having his same group of weapons back. David Johnson in the backfield. At home where they are awesome. Just going to be too much. I think it's going to be close because I do like Garoppolo a little more than most people do. But I think Carson's going to light it up. I'm going to say that this is a 34-21 victory for the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, believe me. But as I heard Bill Belichick speak, everybody on the team is doubtful this week. So therefore, I do have to go Arizona Cardinals as well. I will go, of course, Carson Palmer going 35-21.
So that brings us to the 2 Monday night games to start the year. Let's start with our favorite people, the Pittsburgh Steelers, going to Washington to play Jay Gruden, Kirk Cousins, and the Redskins. Josh Norman coming in, doesn't matter. Josh Norman can't cover Antonio Brown. Even without Le'Veon Bell, even without Martavis Bryant, we know Pittsburgh's going to be a really good football team this year, as much as it sucks to say. So I am taking Pittsburgh to win this game, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think Roethlisberger's going to throw it all over the field. I like Pittsburgh to win this game. I will say 34-20.
See, I don't want Pittsburgh to win this game. Plus, Pittsburgh, it seems like whenever Pittsburgh is playing a team that is beneath them, Pittsburgh seems to show up and, choke. Big Ben, again, the guy's talented. I just don't think that he's... I don't know. I just don't think that he can pull this one off for some weird reason. I just have this feeling that Jay Gruden just knows the Steelers way too well. I like the fact that Josh Norman's on this team for the Redskins. I'm going to have to lean Redskins on this one just because I don't think that Antonio Brown can do it all, and I think D'Angelo Williams is 1 year older. So I'm going to go Washington on this one. I think I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm hoping I'm not. I'm going to go Washington on this one, and I'm going to go 28-21.
I hope you're right, but I just think Pittsburgh's going to be up there, man.
I'm going against my gut feeling, so.
Last game of the week. What better to have the LA Rams start the regular season than not being at home? Okay, that makes sense, NFL scheduling. So, they will go to San Francisco and play the Blaine Gabbert-led San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, come on now. Todd Gurley on one side, that defense on the other. San Francisco is not going to be able to stop these guys on either side of the ball. I think the Rams win this game. I think Todd Gurley's just going to be too much. I would say it's a 21-13 victory for the Los Angeles Rams.
Why am I blanking on the wide receiver's name that we really, really liked? That we wish they would have traded for.
Tavon Austin?
Thank you. I think there's another factor to this whole thing, and that's Tavon Austin. I think Todd Gurley and Tavon Austin are going to be way too much for the San Francisco team. I just don't see this team the San Francisco team, especially with all the distractions around them. And yes, Colin Kaepernick, we understand you've made your point. And that is, I can't root for San Francisco. I can't think that they're going to win. So, for me, I'm going Los Angeles, and I'm going Los Angeles big. I'm going 35-10.
35-10. Well, there is our Week 1 picks for this week edition of Down the Line on the TNN Network. But we are going to go watch some football because it's time for Week 1. Panthers, Broncos, Super Bowl 50 rematch coming up now. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Can't wait to be talking about a Bengals victory and previewing the Steelers next week. Who day?
Nobody.